evening, everybody. Welcome to the Kickin Show, the 15th episode, brought to you by KickinTheTires.net every week. This week, we've got Justin Schuler, Seth Eggert, Matt Corson, and myself, Jerry Jordan, bringing you most of the news from the NASCAR world, as well as the e-racing, iRacing series. What else do we got? We got all kinds of stuff happening.
That we do. Over on the iRacing side of things, the iRacing Pro Series ran last night, and our driver that we're sponsoring, Brandon Gattel, went from 38th to 9th at Dover International Speedway. He didn't conquer the Monster Mile, but he ran pretty well. Again, got a timely caution that he was one of only 4 left on the lead lap when the caution came out during green flag pit stops. Got up to 3rd, and then another caution came out with 18 to go that shuffled him back to 9th on the restart.
So what you're saying is he didn't beat Miles up, but he gave him a black eye.
Yes. The person who beat Miles up definitely has to be Ashton Crowder from Elliott Sadler Esports. It's their second win in a row. It's his first Pro Series win, his first pole, their first pole. He, his teammate Garrett Maines, and Virtual Racing School's Mitchell DeYoung are just about guaranteed a spot in the Coca-Cola Series next year. That leaves 18 spots left up for grabs. Brandon Gattel is right on the bubble right now. Ooh. And there are 3 drivers who have been eliminated. Steve Sheehan, who competed in the Coke Series last year, Michael Gonzalez, and 15-year-old Donovan Strauss.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
Yes, there is a very good chance.
The Kickin the Tires car could be in the Coca-Cola Series.
Yes, there is a chance.
That's all we need.
Boom.
And next up is Charlotte Motor Speedway, which, if I remember correctly, Brandon finished top 15 in the Coke Series earlier this year with Clint Boyer racing.
Yeah, he can go out there and win it. Our cars are faster than our e-cars are faster than Clint Boyer's e-cars. How about that? What do you think of that, Clint Boyer?
The Slip Angle Motorsports team has been pretty good. They were honestly a little bit off at Dover. Brandon, Malik Ray, who won Daytona, and several others, they all qualified in the 30s, and Brandon was actually the best finisher of the bunch in 9th. Malik had some trouble getting on the pit road to hit the water barrels, and the other 2 or 3 drivers, they just struggled this week. It seemed like everybody was struggling with some aspect of Dover. Today there was an update on iRacing. They added the new Dallara IR01, which is essentially their version of an F1 car, since no F1 team will let them scan their current F1 car. So they made their own with Dallara, and it is a beast to drive.
Well, that's one more thing that we need to get an iRacing sponsorship for, so that I can continue to buy cars and tracks, and because they get you hooked, man.
Yeah, they do.
That's the goal. They're making, that's get you hooked on. I got to try this new car. I got to try this new track. But
they also added big block modifieds based on, I think, Stuart Friesen's big blocks up in the Northeast.
Yeah. You mentioned F1, and that segues perfectly into where I was this past weekend, and that was at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Spent 2.5 days there. It was chilly. It was, a little frigid for Austin. But I was there with Austin Dillon, Kaz Grala, Tyler Reddick, Garrett Smithley, Josh Balicki. Tommy Joe Martins ended up going home. And there is a rumor. There is a rumor. There was no spotting. There was no sighting that Corey LaJoie was there. But if he was there, he was driving a black Mazda number 129 that said Mazda on the side of it. It's kind of a plain car. You'll see a photo of it on Kickin the Tires later. But man, he was fast. From what I was told, they were leading their class early on Saturday, and then they didn't end up finishing on in the top 3 on Sunday. However, every NASCAR driver there, it seems like, had some kind of trouble. Okay, the Austin Dillon Camaro, the number 3 car that was driven with Tyler Reddick and Kaz Grala, this was an RCR built car. It had to be, because everything on it was NASCAR. I mean, it just oozed NASCAR. Probably Gen 7 if I had to guess, but we're not going to go down that road. However, they had problems on Saturday. Okay, they had good test session and good practice on Friday. On Saturday, they had issues. They had a mount on the brake caliper that got bent. They also lost an engine, so they didn't get to go out hardly at all on Saturday. They were looking for a machinist. I helped them try to find a machinist. Because I'm from Texas, so it's easy to get on the phone and start calling people. Garrett Smithley's car that he and other drivers were supposed to drive, they literally shattered a drive shaft. Actually, they shattered 2 drive shafts. Okay, did damage to the car, so that car was out of contention. Balicki, I think, was supposed to be in that car. He ended up in the 91 Corvette. The Corvette expired early on Sunday. Garrett Smithley's Honda that he got a ride in at last minute on Sunday, he broke the brakes, went through the pads. You're driving the course. It's a 3.4 mile course. I think it was 17 turns. He went through the brake pads. Car had no stopping power, so he had to come in. Austin Dillon's car, the number 3 Camaro, bright yellow, by the way, finished the race on Sunday. And then, it was basically kind of who's who was left in the NASCAR world. And they went down there. Well, I'll tell you what, don't take my word for it. You don't want to hear from me. Let's go talk to the drivers, because they said it was worth it. Talk about driving this COTA for the first time for you.
Yeah, it's an awesome track, great facility, and it's been a lot of fun. Friday we had a lot of practice in. Saturday, unfortunately, didn't go as way we wanted it to, but today we're hoping for a good, solid day. We feel like we have a shot to win this thing, but more importantly, we're here to get laps and try and learn the track.
I was going to ask you, how does this think this is going to help you, for the Cup race next year?
Well, just seeing the track. This is the first time I've been able to drive around it, and the way practice is, you don't get a lot of opportunities now to get laps on it. So we're just out here having a little fun and trying to get better at road racing in general. It's just nice to be in a big field of cars and learn how to race around people.
You learn any corners that are trickier than others? I know there's the first turn and then that one way down on the other end of the track.
Yeah, turn 1's awesome. Just the view going up the hill, and I think the S's are going to be wild in the Cup race, just because it gets tight there for a little while. But the stadium section is probably my favorite. You get down into the long stretch. I think it's turn 12. You turn in there, turn left. From that point on, it's tricky. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Actually, good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
On COTA here, I don't know how many laps you've got so far, but wasn't good yesterday. I'm trying to back out now.
I've probably gotten the most laps of us 3, and I really like this place. It's a lot of fun so far. I think it's going to be a good NASCAR race here. We're just out here trying to get laps, having fun, and we haven't had the best luck here this weekend, but we've all gotten some laps. Now Austin's going out, so he'll get some more laps today. So this is still really good for us, even though we've had some troubles. I think we're all going to be really prepared here for our races in a few months.
What do you think of the track? There's some tricky turns here, turn 1, and then the S's. It's going to be fun in a stock car.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a really unique track. I've never been on a Formula One track personally. I don't know if this is more the norm for them, but there's definitely some really, really tight corners, some super long braking zones, and then some crazy elevations. So it's going to be way different for us in our stock cars, but I think it's going to put on a great race.
Actually, would y'all have just like something loose that looked like just now?
No, our oil pan is not designed for a road course, it's for an oval, and it caused an engine to expire yesterday. So today we overfilled with oil on purpose just to make sure that everything was well lubricated. So we didn't actually have a problem there. There was just some excess overflow that was going to burn itself off, but the series black flagged us for smoking, so we had to come in and get the excess out ourselves. We would have been fine there, probably would have won the race. But now we'll see if we can at least get back up into contention in a top 10 or something. We weren't in the garage long, so I think we'll be okay.
Hey, Tyler, talk about being here at COTA.
Well, it's really nice. We've learned a lot about, oil pans and things that hopefully we don't find when we come back here next year. But it's been fun to get track time. It was unfortunate that we didn't have all these issues on practice day and that they just held out long enough to start the race yesterday and then break. So we were hoping we run enough practice to have these issues if they would arise and avoid this happening in our races. But it's keeping us on our toes. We're still back out there, it looks like. And hopefully we get some track time, and hopefully the issues we're fighting, we can hold off at least to get some laps.
What's the tricky points of this track here?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. It's really easy to talk about. I got a track map right behind you here. But, so yeah, let's look at the track map. I mean, very deceiving turn 1, and then obviously you're going flat out through turn 2. And what's going to be interesting, and when we come back here and race in the Cup cars, is the S's are very technical and very tight, and these Cup drivers are going to try and run through there side by side. So a lot of action's going to happen in the S's through here. And I don't know, just the stadium section, the slow stuff is very fun. There's going to be a lot of bumping and banging in those Cup cars and in our stock cars. It'll make for a great race.
Here at COTA, running the race and getting some track time for next year in the Cup Series.
Yeah, it was a blast here for the World Racing League endurance race. There's like 93, 95 cars here total. So I've never done any endurance racing at all. It was a blast. So much fun. Unfortunately, my first ride ended up breaking. So huge thanks to Jonathan Newcomb with JNR Racing. Gave me a spot today and a little bit yesterday. One of my sponsors that come on board, Blackdrop, Whitetail, and Fort Worth Screen Printing, had a blast. I mean, just getting track time around here, even though we're in a small horsepower car, still a blast. This thing handled great. First time I ever drove a Honda around a race car. First time I ever drove a front wheel drive car. So still just a blast. I can't wait till NASCAR comes back, and yeah, hopefully do it again soon.
What do you think you picked up for next year in the Cup cars when you come back to COTA?
There's definitely a few spots on the track that's going to be tricky. Definitely be looking for the first restart, any restart going down in turn 1. It was crazy with 90 cars. It's going to be crazy with 40 Cup cars going down there. And man, just getting around here in a 750 horsepower Cup car, it's a lot of fun. So stay tuned.
Well, there you have it. As I predicted, it was worth it for the drivers to go down there, even though they didn't get as much track time as they wanted. They learned a lot. They've got a leg up for 2021 when NASCAR goes down to COTA and runs for the very first time. I thought this was a brilliant idea by the NASCAR Cup Series drivers that went down there, because this gives them a shot to do something before everyone else and then go back and learn the nuances and put it to use even in a simulator. What do you guys think?
Well, I was going to say, here's the other thing to think about. Remember when we went to the Roval for the first time and how wild that race was? With the Tums barrier wall, people hopping the turtles and literally blowing their cars out from underneath. I feel like we're going to have another one of those wild races here at COTA next year. So just goes to show even the best of the best can make mistakes, but my goodness, I wonder how many are going to run into their own mistakes basically on this track. It's going to be pretty crazy.
And I think some will probably utilize the simulators or iRacing, depending on which they prefer or what they're able to get their hands on at the moment. Balicki, for example, I just raced with him earlier this week on Monday in the Monday Night League on iRacing. Preston Pardus spun and won, by the way. But Balicki, probably Kyle Busch. There will be some that will use iRacing to at least learn the track. It might not be the same it might not be the same feel, but to at least learn the layout, memorize the layout, they might be able to get a good idea of where things are and where some breaking points might be.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited for the Cup Series, well, all three series, to go out to COTA next year. I was out there last year for some of the Trans Am races, and they just put on a heck of a show out there. I mean, that course is just wild with all the elevation changes and really tight corners, especially up there in turn 1 and 2. So I think this is a great opportunity. Like you said, brilliant idea for the drivers to get out there and get on the track before everyone else can. We know that NASCAR is going to allow some sort of practice on the new tracks next year, but at least these drivers have a few extra laps under their belt.
I mean, this was an endurance race before anybody else. It was a World Racing League, which for me, I'd never even really heard of these guys. It was very laid back, and it was kind of like being at a NASCAR race pre-pandemic. Man, we got to drive around the track because COTA's so big. We got to drive around the perimeter roads of the track to get our photos. We got to walk through the garage. We got to talk to people. We actually got to see drivers, not other than through a stupid Zoom screen. No offense, Zoom. We appreciate what you've done for us. But, by God, there's something to be said about sticking my phone in front of Austin Dillon's face and say, hey, man, tell me about this track. And, it was great. And that's what I want everybody to get back to. It was fun. It was great. And I know they learned a lot, but it's going to be really, really interesting to see 3,000 plus pound stock cars going through turn 1. And then, as Dillon said, through the S's. That's going to be crazy.
I'm sure the drivers appreciated too, seeing some of the core NASCAR media out there at that race and actually being interviewed in person.
Yeah, me. That was it. Because they were like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I live right outside of Houston. This is a 3-hour drive for me. I was not going to miss this. So
I think the rest of the core NASCAR media, or at least 2 members of the NASCAR media, Matt Weaver,
they were down at
Jacob Seelman, were at some short track in Florida.
Some little short track in Florida where it was cold and rainy, at least for part of the time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that was I think some weird event was going on there. I don't know.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. Tom Majeski won that race. There was some stiff competition in the event. Kyle Busch went down there. Chase Elliott went down there.
Mm-hmm.
There was some big time drivers in the snowball, and then there was some controversy because apparently
in the snowflake,
in the snowflake, because you can't wreck people. You can't have cell phones. Oh, that was the LCQ, wasn't it? The cell phone.
The cell phone was in the LCQ, was in qualifying for the snowball.
Just stupid stuff. That's all. It just dumb rules that this series has problems with every single year. Which is, I went to one last year. It rained out. Okay, the racing when I saw it was good, but look, at the end of the day, you want to make the racing better? Get rid of the dumb rules. We have dumb rules in NASCAR. Trust me, we complain about them every week. But I don't want to hear anybody say anything about NASCAR when a guy, is handed his cell phone by his crew chief, and all of a sudden, he's disqualified because they're afraid that traction control on one of those cars is gonna, be controlled by a cell. Let me tell you something. These guys are smart, but they're not like, Chad Canal smart. Okay. Just let it go.
Yeah, so, man, I don't know. So like the cell phone one kind of got me a little weird because I'm trying to think over Bluetooth, like how in the world that would affect traction control after someone's already gone out for the qualifying lap. That was a little weird and fishy to me. And I say fishy as in on the official's part. It's just something weird. That you'd make a call for. But yeah, with the snowflake, that was strange to see that call be made that way, and a lot of fans were pretty upset. It looked like he had position, and then obviously gets the call going against him.
Yeah, Stephen Nasse.
Yeah, Nasse. Yeah. So
that was the Bubba Pollard Stephen Nasse issue.
Yeah,
right?
and Nasse got penalized to the tail end of the lead lap, giving Jake Johnson the win.
Yeah, now that's typical because, for most local short tracks, whenever you're involved in a yellow, you're forced to the rear at any point, no matter what, whether you actually spun out or not. And that was actually what led up to the ruling, is basically anytime someone spins or crashes, that would naturally bring out a yellow. And so in that case, they were like, well, naturally this would have brought out a yellow, so you go to the back. And that was Nasty's penalty, obviously. And, you can obviously understand how frustrated that would make them.
Look, if his name wasn't Stephen Nassy and he hadn't done stuff in the past, and it wasn't Bubba Pollard and he hadn't done stuff in the past, that might have gotten a pass. But at the end of the day, they're both two controversial drivers, and we're still talking about a race that was basically uneventful other than that.
But on the flip side, like you said, Ty Majeski can finally say finally. He wins the Snowball Derby after a fantastic battle in the closing laps. I think the last restart was somewhere around 5 or 7 laps to go.
5 to go.
5 to go. Chase Elliott got up to 3rd, so that was really cool to see. I know when he qualified, his qualifying time was like 38th or so.
And he had to go through the LCQ.
Yeah.
He won his LCQ and started 31st, so he gained 28 spots. But he was quoted after the race saying his car was good, but not good enough.
Yeah.
What happened to KFB?
He struggled on the long run. He was good the first run of the race, and then there were 3 75-lap runs that he just struggled, and he faded back to 9th at one point, and he was able to get back up to 7th. But it was the Derek Dorn and Ty Majeski show all race. Derek Dorn led 252 laps. Majeski was able to force his way by on the final run and finally get redemption, especially after last year. Believe it or not, the car he ran this year was actually the one that was totaled last year in the Snowball.
I have photos of that happening.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Matt, are you cold, or are you like you monitoring the thermostat in your house? What's going on? You look like you're bundled up with a big jacket, man.
Yeah, my fiance keeps it pretty cold in here. She hasn't turned the heat on yet, and it's probably 64 degrees in here. So
You know how to handle that, right?
how's that?
Get a new fiance.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. She's a sweet lady. I know her. But
All right, well, moving on before Jerry gets in any more trouble.
wow, you're having a kid and got built-in grandparents.
All right, so hey,
Carson's over here
Matt-
freezing to death.
Matt's got some news. I know we've been talking about some silly season stuff. No babies yet, Jerry. Quit telling everyone lies. I know we've been talking about some silly season, which we do have a couple things. Seth's got some updates on us for that. But Matt, go ahead and give us a quick update on some of the spotters that are actually making some shuffles with different drivers and teams.
Yeah, so coming with, of course, silly season, we get new drivers with new teams, but normally that comes with new people up on the roof that are going to be spotting for them. So I know Chris Moniz, he's going to go from spotting from Ty Dillon to Kyle Larson at Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, we don't know where Ty Dillon's going to end up next year. Drew Herring, he's going to replace longtime spotter for Truex, Clayton Hughes, who is also going to go to Front Row Motorsports and spot for Michael McDowell. And then Brandon McReynolds is going to spot for Ross Chastain. And then Jeff Doucette is going to be on the roof with Corey LaJoie over at Spire Motorsports. And then no spotter named yet for Chase Briscoe, who's making the move over to Stewart Haas Racing next year, taking over for Clint Boyer. And then Earl Barbin, he's out at Hendrick, no longer with the team. He's going to move over to IndyCar and spot. And one thing that I think that's interesting with that is you got Earl Barbin, Chad Knaus, and Jimmy Johnson all, even though they weren't all with the same team, they all went out together at Phoenix in some sort of way with their current role. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Wow. Yeah, and a big shout out to Bob Pockris for kind of breaking down all of that for everyone too. But yeah, I think the biggest one there is probably Clayton Hughes. He's been Martin Truex's spotter, I think, pretty much ever since he started. I mean, he was his spotter back at DEI. Is that correct, Jerry? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jerry might know, but yeah, that's crazy.
I was reading a news tweet that someone just sent to me. For those interested, Joe Gibbs Racing rented out the speedway tonight for for their whole Christmas lights thing to have a drive-in Christmas party.
Ooh, nice.
So that's kind of this. Charlotte Motor Speedway has the drive-through Christmas, kind of like if you watched. I think I posted it on Twitter or something. At COTA, they had the same thing, but these tracks, they set up all these lights and stuff, and Joe Gibbs Racing did a drive-through Christmas party. It was kind of cool.
Boom.
Now, what was the question you were asking me while I was reading that and not paying attention?
Clayton Hughes, who was the spotter for Truex, wasn't he his spotter all the way back at Truex's DEI days?
I believe so. Yeah.
Wow.
So
would it just be DEI days, or would it also go back to his Chance 2 days?
Well, it would go back to. I don't know. I don't know if it was Chance 2.
Okay.
But I do think it goes back to DEI, then to what was that?
MWR.
MWR, Michael Waltrip Racing, and then
Wow.
Got it. I think he told him his elbow was itching or something.
That's crazy.
You know he's a media person now, right? So we get to haze him. Because, it's like he's the freshman and we're the seniors.
There you go.
Don't think I'm not going to use that.
Well, I think there is something we've skipped over, some scheduling.
No. We skipped something on the list? I screwed up the show? Come on.
Nah. No, we'll get into some silly season stuff here in a second, but Auto Club already making the call of canceling the 2021 race.
No, they didn't make the call. California governor made the call.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest here. Gavin, your governor, okay, decided to lock the state down and make it so we can't race. This is probably this past race at California at Auto Club Speedway is probably the last time we'll ever have a race at a 2-mile track. Did you realize that?
Yep.
Think about it. Okay, because of your dumb governor.
Well, you know why he shut it all down? Because he wants to make sure the lines are super short whenever he needs to go get a meal at a restaurant with 30 other people. So.
Yeah, was he the one that went to the French Laundry? To the fancy...
that restaurant, and then another one, and then he was caught a third time at like a friend's birthday party or something like that. Again,
not to delve into politics
or anything like that.
Not to delve into politics. I don't know what the governor makes, but like for one person at the French Laundry, it's over $150.
Jeez.
So however many he had, and I'm sure they had wine and they were treated with all kinds of. Yeah, you're looking at thousands of dollars for dinner.
I think if you're gonna force your entire state to shut down and cause people to lose all their paychecks, and then tell everyone. Have the audacity to tell everyone, if you have a small business or you have a management role or something like that, just apply for these loans and you'll be fine, and then you never follow through with giving those actual loans out. You should lose your paycheck too as a governor until you figure out how to get things opened up. But that's just my thought.
How's Tennessee, Matt?
Tennessee, it's like nothing's even happening unless you go into the city of Nashville.
Then what happens? I've only been there a couple times.
Everything closes at like 9 or 10, but outside of the city, everything's pretty much normal.
So all the bars, all the cool night places are.
Yeah, they're closing super early because it only spreads after hours, I reckon.
Oh yeah, well, there was a meme that's like, watch out, make sure you're not outside at 10:01, because remember that one time you got home at 9:59 and went, whew, almost caught it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, everything's pretty bad. I mean, the mayor of Nashville, he's really cracked down. So I remember there was a report that came out a few weeks ago that said that Nashville was like the most restricted metropolitan area in the country at some point.
Oh wow.
Well, I'll tell you what, I do know one thing I can keep you involved in this conversation a little bit about. Nashville released their website and all their logos and everything this past week. So that was kind of cool that your track is coming back.
Yeah, that's super cool. They got rid of the red, white, and blue traditional logo and kind of came with a more simplistic one. They got like the little shape of the guitar on it and the NSS. So I think it's a really big step forward for the super speedway. They actually just removed all the ginormous concrete barriers that sat out in front of the entrance a few days ago. So, and they're moving the Nissans out. So, definitely some progress going on up there, and looking forward to Father's Day weekend next year.
Did they emulate the Kyle Busch guitar, or did they come up with their own design?
I think it's just like a generic guitar for the logo, but I would like to see that tradition of the guitar continue in Victory Lane. I'm sure it will. Of course, it won't be
not the smashing part.
I was gonna say,
right?
is someone gonna smash the guitar?
They need to give them a guitar to smash and a guitar to keep.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
And maybe name the trophy after Sam Bass or something like that.
I'm totally cool with that.
The Sam Bass guitar. Oh, heck yeah. That's got a good ring to it.
We are so far off the rails, but I think we're onto something. I'm gonna pitch this. I say we come up with a trophy that is destructible, okay? I.e. the Kyle Busch guitar, but we name the official trophy after Sam Bass. That would be classy.
Yeah.
So would it be a bass guitar or a bass guitar? But all right.
I guess that's your one bad pun of the show. Anyway.
Okay, now where are we at?
All right.
Silly season.
Yeah. Seth, I think
the silly show.
Yeah, there we go. Silly show to silly season. So Seth, close us out. I think we got just a couple minor news breaks with that stuff.
Yeah, we have Chandler Smith replacing Christian Eckes at Kyle Busch Motorsports in the number 18 Safe Light Toyota Tundra. Which Chandler Smith, if you've heard the name before, he's run part-time for Kyle Busch the past 2 years. He just turned 18 in 2020. But over on the ARCA side of things, in 33 starts, he has 9 wins. He was tearing it up there, although he never ran a full season. If he did, he may have had a chance to win a championship there. But he's going to run full-time for Kyle Busch. And then over in the Xfinity Series, Jesse Little is moving from Johnny Davis Motorsports, JDM, over to BJ McLeod Motorsports to run the number 78 full-time. To me, that's kind of a lateral move. Both the teams kind of run in about the same spot in the field week to week. Although with BJ McLeod co-owning a Cup team, granted, it is separate from his Xfinity Series team.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's some thought process there that Jesse has. Either way, good for him that he's going to be back full time next year.
I think Tiff owns that Cup team more so than I know it's a partnership, but I think it's a Tiff's team.
Yeah.
Either way, I think that's a good point that you made there, Seth. I think having that Cup relationship for BJ is going to improve his other programs the same way.
Yeah, and outside of silly season, just one kind of history note this past weekend. Julie Landauer, a NASCAR Next alumni, earned her first podium in the Euro NASCAR series, becoming the second woman ever in their series history to earn a podium. The last one was Carol Perrin in 2012. Julia's been running full-time over in Europe this year, and I think she finished 5th in points and won the Lady Trophy classification that they have.
Congratulations for her. Podium finishes, they do it differently over in Europe. They actually care about who finishes, 1, 2, and 3. NASCAR, we care about 1.
Yeah, she finished 3rd at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, I think I pronounced that correctly, in Valencia, Spain, in the penultimate race this season. And Alonde won the Pro Series championship out in Europe, his 3rd title, and he is now the winningest driver in series history with 24 wins. And I believe, for some numerology, he drives to 24, got his 24th win, and won the title with a 24-point gap.
Well, here's my problem with Alonde. He's not answering his phone. Okay,
I know.
because I tried to call. Okay, and say, dude, come on the show. No, he doesn't answer the phone. So I gotta get my boy, man. I don't know what's wrong with Alon. I mean, seriously, he and I are tight. We're
Yeah.
but I gotta get him. I gotta get him on the show. I gotta get him on the phone first.
Yeah.
But
But if anyone listening, if you have someone you'd like to hear on the show, especially during the off season, just leave it down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. But
right.
Jerry, Matt, Seth, I think it's a short show, not too much going on, which is typical for the off season. But I think that's pretty much it with everything news wise that's gone on around. There's a couple other rumors that we're kind of waiting to see something official, but I think that's pretty much it for news. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, that's pretty much all I've got. I know Matt's going to go build a fire in the living room, and his fiance is never going to talk to me again. Tell her that's what she gets for not coming on camera.
I'll put the little fireplace with the logs on the TV.
Awesome. That'll work. That'll create some mental warmth.
And then just put on the podcast on the TV.
Hey, honestly, here we have a central house, air and all that stuff, and we have a 3-bedroom, cool little house here. But in the living room, we have one of these cool little space heaters. It's like decorative. It warms the hell out of the house, and it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to run it than to run the central heating unit. And we were just having this conversation before I started the show about our electric bill during the summer. If we run the central air, then the heat, the air conditioning, electricity bill is like $250. I know that's nothing for you out in California, Justin, because you are in the land of high taxes and high bills. But $250 is pretty significant. But during the winter, it's like $100, and we run that little heater for most of the time because we like it cold when we go to sleep. But in the living room and stuff, you don't want it cold all night long. So it's great. You need to get one. Can I buy one on Amazon and send it to you? Can you just pick it up? Can you pick it up at the job?
Can't pick it up at the job, but I could probably get it within about 6 hours of you.
So there you go. Well, thanks for everybody for joining us here tonight on the Kickin' Show. We appreciate it. Matt has been the butt of my jokes tonight, and I feel so bad for him. But he's really a great friend and honestly a great asset to Kickin' the Tires. Everyone here is, and we appreciate it. Thank you. I will warn you now, we are going to take a week off at Christmas. We'll be back next week, but after that, I think we get to take a week off, maybe 2, not sure. But I'd like to give everybody some time to spend time with their family and not have to worry about a midweek show with Kickin' the Tires and doing all this stuff. So y'all take care. We'll see you again next week.